Hello guys, today we have a webinar and we will speak about top 5 majors that you can get well-paid job after graduation from the US university. The main speaker of our webinar will be Tim Phelps. He is a director in marketing at Suffolk University Boston and he is well familiar with the best majors to take in order to get great job and high salary after graduation.
So welcome everyone. My name's Tim. As Yulia probably told you, I'm super happy to be here. I'm based in Boston and I represent Suffolk University. I'm an old man. I've been doing this for about 20 years. And so I have a lot of experience when it comes to, college choices and degree choices and how that's going to affect your career opportunity and all of those things. And so as I present and when we're done, if you have any questions at all related to Suffolk or your potential studies or degrees or anything that you want to talk about, that's more than fine, and I welcome those questions. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to go over what is STEM and why is STEM important for you to consider. It's not everything that matters, but it's certainly something that can affect your potential employment and also your career opportunities as an international student. So we'll go into what that means and how you may be able to approach that in your college search. We're also going to cover just 5 different examples of majors. Most of them do have STEM attached to them, and one of them does not. And we'll talk about the differences in those. We'll talk about briefly why Boston. Why would you want to come and study at Suffolk University in downtown Boston, and what kind of advantages are there for you? And then we'll finish with just what the financial assistance looks like and your opportunity for scholarship and how easy it is to get started. So what is STEM and why is it important? Some of you on the call might already be familiar with STEM. STEM is an acronym that means science, technology, engineering, and math. And when you look at those things, some of the degrees that you would go into for STEM are going to be obvious. Maybe if someone's going to go pre-med, or if someone wants to study biotechnology or engineering, those all make sense. Those are pretty easily identifiable as a STEM degree, right? But other STEM degrees sometimes are not so obvious, and we'll talk a little bit about those today. The reason why I want to talk about those for you is because I was asked to talk about some majors where you could use those for jobs that make good money coming out of the university, both at the undergraduate level and the graduate level. And so what we're going to do is look at the opportunities that STEM poses as you combine those with some degree choices and what that means for your career. So why would you want to put STEM into your studies? First, STEM degree students are in high demand. Many employers are looking for people with a STEM degree after graduation. As an international student, that's even more important for you because lots and lots of Americans are going to get degrees like business, right? It's the most popular degree in the world. But if that business degree is not STEM, you would be competing against hundreds of thousands of other American students for the same jobs. And a key difference between a STEM degree and a non-STEM degree in the US is that a STEM degree will give you 3 years of an opportunity to work in the US. If it's a non-STEM degree, you have 1 year of work opportunity in the US. It's a national law, it's policy. So no matter what university you study in the US, that is going to affect you either way. It doesn't mean you have to do STEM. It just means you should keep that in the back of your mind when you're choosing, because working in the US after you get your degree might be really important to you. For others, it might not matter at all. So when you're done, we see students with STEM degrees getting job offers faster, getting more job offers than many non-STEM degrees, not all, but many. And you're often starting at a much higher pay rate with a STEM degree than a non-STEM degree. Of course, the top end of lots of different careers don't necessarily need to be STEM, but when you're talking about a career right out of the university, oftentimes STEM degrees are going to give you the best starting salaries. So the first degree that I'll give you an example of, and I want you to be aware of a couple things. These degrees that I'm going to show you are available at the undergraduate level and the graduate level. But depending on the curriculum of each, sometimes the undergraduate level may be STEM and sometimes it might not. And same for the master's degree. In this case, our master's degree in finance is STEM designated. The undergraduate degree is not. So I just want to make that super clear. And as I show you these degrees, I want to also give you, I'm going to kind of walk you through a couple different web pages so that when we're done with the presentation today, you know how to navigate this web environment that I'm going to show you in order to be able to see exactly where your interests would be and how much money you would be able to make with something that you wanted to study. And I'll show you how to do that with this degree. So with the master's degree in finance, you don't have to have a bachelor's degree in finance. You can have a bachelor's degree in business. You can have a bachelor's degree in psychology. You can do a lot of different things and still be eligible for a master's degree in finance. Once you come out of that, there's lots and lots of different options. You could become a financial analyst. You could become a financial advisor and work with private people to help them manage their investment portfolios. You could become an investor yourself. You could even use that, if you're good at math, to become an actuary, where you are assessing personal and financial risk. The 2020 median pay, the average pay for someone with an MS degree in finance that's going to be a financial analyst, for example, begins at 83,000. And then some of these other positions, the average salary is up to $134,000. It depends on the position and the company that you're working with. This is not the highest scale or the lowest. This is the average salary in 2020. So if you think you're a person that wants to help guide business decisions in a financial sense, or direct investment activities to help somebody make the best choice for their private wealth, or if you're really into making sure that you are talking to people about what risks they're facing and helping them calculate that to make the best financial decisions possible, this is a really good field for you. Now, what I want to show you, I'm not going to do this for every major, but what I want to show you is how to go and look at these statistics yourself, because it's very important for me, not only that you don't just rely on whatever I'm telling you, but so that more importantly, you have the ability to go find out what the real information is for each of these degrees. So let's say you are interested in the finance degree, right? What I would do is I would first go to the university that I was thinking about going to, and I would go to their webpage and I would look for the finance degree. So these are all of our business school degrees and programs. This is the master's degree in finance. So if I click on this, I'm going to be able to read about the degree, where it might take me, but now most importantly, I want to see what I'm going to study. So every web page has the curriculum tab here, and then you're going to be able to go in and you're going to see, you see at the top, it's a STEM designated degree, how many courses you're going to have, and then you can see which courses are required and which ones end up being areas of concentration. So you can go through this on your own and see which areas sound most interesting to you. That you can do this for every degree. Now, this is another super important site that I want you to use if you're at all interested in getting objective data for any career, no matter what you're thinking about studying anywhere in the US. If you went to bls.gov, you can start there. And then at the top, they're going to have a search there. You can put in your career, your job position, or your major. You could put in MS in finance, and it will take you to a page that looks like this. So when I put in MS in finance, it gave me, the first example was a financial analyst. This will tell me, this is government data. This will tell me the median pay for a financial analyst per year, what I have to get into this degree, whether the outlook is growing for this position or going away. And then I can click on these different things to show me what's my work environment like? How much am I going to get paid? What's the outlook? And most important to me is if I click on similar occupations, I'm going to see other job examples of what people might have with an undergraduate or graduate degree in finance. So then I can go into all of these other jobs and I can see the pay, I can see what I have to enter, and I can get more data that way. That way you're making the most informed decision on what you might like to study. Okay, I wanted to show you that because it's very important for me to make sure that you know also how to get the information that's important to you. Okay. So the next degree, this is a business degree in marketing. It's an MS, it's the master's level, and this is also STEM designated. You can get a bachelor's degree in marketing. It's not STEM designated, but at the graduate level, it is. And the reason our graduate level business programs are STEM designated is because each one of them has an analytical component built into it. It means that you're going to learn a little bit about data analysis in each of these degrees. And that gives you the 3 years of work opportunity and a skill set that employers want. So with an MS in marketing, you're looking at opportunities of like a marketing manager, public relations, a market research analyst, and lots of others. These are just some typical examples. The median pay range for this major in these jobs range from $65,000 to $118,000. And these statistics, these amounts, are all based on the previous site that I showed you, the bls.gov, which gives the most current data with regard to salary across the United States. So if you like to be a part of a sales team that you're going to direct and have influence over, if you like to look at what trends are happening in marketing and how people are selling and what messaging is going out, and really kind of digging into the data and seeing what's working and what's not, whether it's through digital media or traditional, and then being able to tweak those things to make potential sales go up or revenue go up. If you think that you want to coordinate your own campaigns for sales of anything that you can imagine, whether it's apparel, medicine, merchandise, it doesn't matter. Every industry needs these marketing professionals to get their product or service out in front of consumers. So this is an option for you if you like business, but you also kind of like a little bit of that creative side to be able to work either with visual marketing, things like that. That's going to give you so many different options in that way. And this degree, as I mentioned, also STEM with a high starting salary.
May I ask you a question right now?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, some universities have master in marketing, but it is not STEM degree. So I wanted to ask what I think it would be interesting to know what is the difference in the content of the program of STEM marketing and non-STEM marketing?
So super good question. And I think I landed on not the page that I wanted to. So I don't want to waste too much time going down a rabbit hole here. But what I tried to get to go to is maybe here. Yeah. So what you asked a really important question. Not all marketing degrees are STEM. And in fact, very few marketing degrees are STEM. And what makes it STEM? The reason our marketing degree is STEM is because we have data analytic courses built into our curriculum. So you're not just learning about pure marketing, but you're actually going to be taking some data analytic courses as well. So when I go into the curriculum page, again, this is so important for you to go and see what's embedded in your coursework. And so when I go to the curriculum, STEM classified is at the top. It shows me that this indeed is a STEM designated degree. And then I'm going to start looking at my prereq courses that I'm going to take at the beginning, my core courses, and then some of my advanced courses. And during this coursework, you are always going to have to take some classes that have to do with data analysis or being able to use the information that's coming in to be able to make better marketing decisions, more informed marketing decisions after. And I don't see it right off the top of my head as I'm looking through these, but I 100% know that those courses are embedded in here, even if I don't recognize the name right off the bat, because I know that this is STEM designated. So here's an example: business intelligence and data analytics. That's clearly an analytics class. Also, predictive analytics, clearly another STEM class. So as you're searching from university to university, if you're going to choose another university and you really want to make sure it's STEM, go into the curriculum and make sure for yourself that that degree is STEM, because an MS in marketing that is not STEM is going to give you that 1 year of OPT. And I think something that I talked about with Yulia in the past was that it's not mandatory that you have to find a STEM degree. It's only, and it really matters if your plan or your intention is to make the most of your work opportunity in the US. And it's not true that you can't get a job if you're not STEM. You can, for sure. But you as an international student have a limited amount of time in the US. Many of you want to work not only for experience, but to be able to make that money back that you spent getting your degree, and then have a career that you're going to be able to take to the next level after those first few years. And so I would say very honestly, if you want a degree and you know exactly what you're going to do and you know a job is waiting for you back home, then maybe STEM is not necessary for you. But if you want to give yourself the best opportunity to work in the US, you should think about how you could give yourself 3 years of work opportunity instead of 1, because it can be a huge difference maker. Not only that 3 years is going to give you more salary, but as a potential employer, if you came to me and I saw 2 candidates in front of me with the same exact degree, and one of them told me that they have to go home in a year, and one of them told me that they could stay with me for 3 years, it's a pretty easy decision that I'm going to take that person with 3 years, because as a business, I don't want to invest a lot of money into somebody that I'm going to train for 6 to 8 months and then know that they must go home, whether they wanted to stay or not. And so if I have the ability to choose somebody with 3 years of work opportunity, and I know they're coming in with the ability to analyze data and make my company more profitable, I'm going to choose that person almost every time. So that's why it's important to make sure. And I know, Yulia, when they're working with you, they're going to be able to kind of consult with you and make sure, is this degree STEM or not?
Of course.
Did that answer your question?
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Okay. The next one is an MBA. This is obviously graduate level. Undergraduate level, you don't really have to have a business degree to get an MBA. MBA candidates come from all backgrounds of business, but it is pretty typical that someone would come in with a business background, right? The ideal MBA candidate is not going to go from an undergraduate education right to the MBA. An ideal MBA candidate is going to get their bachelor's degree. They're going to be in some type of an industry for a few years at least, and then they're going to be aspiring to more leadership roles. And to be able to do that effectively, many students come to the MBA. Our MBA has many different concentrations, but the one concentration that makes this MBA STEM, again, pretty rare to have an MBA that's STEM. And so this business intelligence, again, embeds market analysis, data analysis, and those type of courseworks into the curriculum so that when you come out, you have the 3 years of OPT, but you're also learning that next level of business leadership where you're actually learning how to strategize for businesses, large campaigns, not just something small, but you're overseeing the whole creative vision of something. You might also be implementing or designing policy for that company in the way that they operate or the way that they operationalize their business. You're definitely going to be in some type of a leadership or management role where you are overseeing a lot more staff members. MBAs give you this experience, not only because of the experience that you're going to come in that you're drawing upon, but also because you're going to be networking with peers coming from all kinds of different industries and talking about how they are viewing the business that they're working with. And you're going to be able to draw upon that knowledge, share that, learn from faculty who have been in the business fields for a long time, and to be able to become kind of that next level business leader. This could be in the form of an executive, it could be a COO or a CEO, it can be in performance management or HR. You can become a business consultant or completely working on your own with a small staff. There's lots of different options. And because an MBA is so large and global in its ability to kind of where it might be most effective or where it might be used, the pay really varies widely, probably more than any other example that I'm giving today, simply because your pay is going to be such a product of the company that you work for, how big it is or small it is, what industry it is. Oftentimes in healthcare and in tech, the pay salaries are in the millions. And then in other areas where you're dealing with nonprofits or education, it can be significantly smaller than that, in the hundreds of thousands, but still a very good opportunity to give you maximum flexibility to pursue leadership positions with a STEM background. And again, to give you that extra edge when it comes to looking for job placement. And then
I'm sorry, one question from one of the visitors.
Mm-hmm.
How long does the MBA program last?
MBA, that's a really good question. All of the degrees that I'm showing you so far take between a year to a year and a half. And the at the master's level, the MBA will take you a traditional track of at least 2 years. And depending on how many courses are going to you elect to take, it could take even a little bit longer, but the average is 2 years, which is a pretty traditional length for an MBA curriculum. Good question.
And the second question is also from the visitors. Is MBA for students with work experience only?
Yes, for us, you have to have at least 1 year. It can be, it doesn't have to be all full time. It can be if you have, let's say 2 years of part-time work and it's the right type of work, you're in some type of a management role, then for sure we can combine that work experience, but it must be collectively at least 1 year full-time work. That's the only program that we have that requires work experience. And to be very honest with you, it's my opinion that that's probably not even enough to be an ideal MBA candidate. Certainly you can do well, you can get good grades, but to me, a person who's seeking an MBA is someone who has some great experience to draw upon and to be able to share collectively with your peers in the classroom. You're going to learn much more, and you're going to be able to bring in and draw upon those experiences as you're getting your degree. So Yes, it's necessary and required. It's the only program that does require that for us, but it's still pretty pretty accessible, to be honest with you.
Okay, and the third, well, raised question, many questions about the MBA program.
Sure.
And what is if you mentioned that the students should have work experience, and what is the average age on MBA program, and what is the average number of years of work experience the students who were accepted usually have?
You know, those are really good questions, and I don't have the answers for you. I don't work I don't work in the business school. I recruit and I know about it and I can talk about it in its value, but I don't have statistics. So I would be totally making something up if I told you. What I will tell you is it's my view and my opinion that the average age is at least in the mid to upper 20s and then beyond, that we see traditional MBA students coming in. That that age is also, and I'm just overlaying my own experience and what I see in admission trends. I think that that age is coming down because it was fine 5 years ago or 10 years ago to have a bachelor's degree, and that was kind of your key to get into the job market because you were competing against fewer people with degrees. Now the master's degree is almost the new bachelor's degree, and so people think that they're going to get this next degree and be able to use it to open doors. The problem with that logic is, if I were, let's say, with this program that I'm highlighting here, data analytics, because you don't have to have a business degree to go into this. Let's say I have a general business background, or a political science background, or a sports science background, but I want to learn how to analyze data, make sense of it, and make the company that I'm working for now more profitable. I could get this master's degree, and because of the things that are embedded in that curriculum, I don't necessarily have to have experience as a manager, or I don't have to have corporate experience in some specific field in order for me to immediately use the things that I'm learning in an MS degree in business analytics. But if with an MBA, you can try to imagine this. Let's say you got your bachelor's degree and now you're 22. You just by the hair made your work experience count, because let's say you graduated high school early, or you worked part-time during college enough to collectively put that 1 year together. Or let's just say you graduated at 22, you went to work for a year, now you've met the technical requirement, you go get an MBA. Now you're 2 years in the MBA program, you have 4 years of a degree, and you have 1 year of work experience that's probably not at a management or leadership level. It was probably at an entry level. And so now you have a master's, you have an MBA. It sounds so nice, right? And now you've got to come to a potential employer. And when they say, tell me about your leadership experience, tell me about your management style and the way that you like to lead people. Tell me about your vision for this company, and what would you do from an operational perspective, and what would you do to narrow our finance focus so that we become more profitable.
I would love to see a student with 1 year of experience who can say all this.
Exactly, right? So what you are is you're super heavy on the education and super light on the experience. And a large company that's looking for an MBA executive is going to see right through that. And there's a potential that they could look at you in a negative sense now, because now that you have the MBA, your expectation might be, hey, all these other MBA students, they're getting really high salaries, but they're getting that because of their experience, their demonstrated experience. And that's why my personal feeling on MBAs is many people get into it too fast. You shouldn't be in a rush to get to that MBA level. in my opinion. So for big data and business analytics, this is a master's degree that takes 1 year. So typical careers, certainly not, this is not an exhaustive list, just like before, but typical careers are data engineers, data analysts, database managers, intelligence analysts. You see a lot of analyst positions coming out of this degree. And that's because you're to be an effective data scientist or data analyst, you can't just be good with math and spreadsheets. You also need to be an effective communicator, because what you are is you become the bridge between the CEOs and the financial leaders who are trying to look for the most effective way for them to spend their operational dollars or their advertising dollars and marketing dollars, all of that kind of thing, to get to the potential customer as quickly and most effectively as possible. And you need to find how people are accessing their data and what kind of decisions that they're making, and then be able to explain to all of those other teams, this is what the data is showing us, this is what we need to do. It's called data storytelling in the industry. And so you have to be good within your analyzing world, and you also have to be good in the communication side, both written and verbal. So it appeals to a lot of people because they get to use right brain and left brain in their career every single day. It is not a degree where you have to be a super mathematical genius. You generally have to have the same level of mathematical success or acumen as you would for any other business degree. You need to be comfortable in spreadsheets. You need to be comfortable in some lighter programming language, but you're also going to be out of that, kind of stepping out of that side of the things and just purely communicating what the next business steps should be based upon what the data are telling us. The easiest example I can give you of how this type of data affects every single one of us every day of our lives, I would guess that most people on the call have Instagram on their phones. And if you have Instagram on your phone and you're scrolling through the pictures of everybody that you subscribe to, you'll notice that every fifth picture is something that you did not subscribe to. It's an ad. That ad is based on every single time you have liked something or commented on something or saved something. That's all data that's collected, sent to companies to try to get right in front of you in order to buy their product or use their service. So these ads might not all be perfect, but they're far from imperfect, and they're usually closely aligned with what your experience is online as you're going through. That happens on every social media platform and every single electronic decision that you make every day, whether it's paying for fuel, buying groceries, buying shoes, anything. All of those things that you have done without cash has turned into data or information. And in this career, you're looking at how to get it and how to make sense of it. And as a result of that, it's one of the most in-demand majors right now globally. There is not an industry that you can name that doesn't use data intelligence and someone who's analyzing that data in order to help them become a more effective, streamlined business. Whether it's sports or medicine or food or entertainment, every big company and now many small companies want to know how not to waste money and get their product to you as quickly as possible. And this position is what does it. So just a couple of examples of things that you would be doing, like making business insights from large amounts of data, designing the structure of the data that comes in that you're sending out to the stakeholders in the company, or even developing your own algorithms if you're good at programming language, and being able to, instead of using someone else's tools to do it, you're developing your own tools to do it. And that's where a huge amount of money comes for you. So this is a very exciting career, and often one that students will mix at the undergraduate level to make their bachelor's degree STEM. And I'll talk about that in a couple slides later. The final degree example that I wanted to give you is non-STEM, because we have hundreds of different degrees and many of them are not STEM. And I know not everybody is interested in STEM. So just another example of a career where you can make very good money with a non-STEM degree, where job opportunities are there for you, is a bachelor's degree in interior design or a master's degree in interior architecture. And here you could be a project manager, a director of interior design, what we call a preservation architect, which I know in Kiev, there's so many old buildings, right, that are constantly getting turned into something new office space, but an old outdoor shell, right? You have to be able to model new space. You have to know the building codes, you have to know the structures that you're working with, you have to know all the technical aspects of it in order for you to begin even considering taking down interior walls and things like that. So this career really appeals to people who are creative, who want to be able to control the design of an office space or a house or a business from the inside in order to make someone feel a certain emotion, whether it's peacefulness or excitement or mystery. All of these different things can be done with shapes and colors and different interior elements. And these majors are right front and center, working between the construction companies and the person who is employing you to get that job done. The average salary starts out a little lower at 60,000, which is still decent, and can go up quite easily up into the mid hundreds of thousands, depending on the firms that you're working for, your experience as your portfolio grows, and all of those sorts of things. So it's not just all about STEM for careers that pay well. These are just a super small highlight of some of the programs at the undergraduate level and the graduate level. And for us, when you're looking at our material, these little asterisks next to the degrees indicate whether that degree is STEM or not. So you can see that biochemistry, computer science, radiation science, those are all STEM degrees, but graphic design, interior design, and advertising are not. They're still all wonderful degrees. It really matters what you are most interested in. But we wanted to make sure that you knew what your options were. And at the undergraduate level, many people will pursue a dual degree in business analytics and something that is that matches well with that degree, so that they can get the STEM option, but also choose something to focus on that they like. And that usually does not take the way that American education is designed, it's not going to take you 8 years to do that. It will often take you only as little as a semester and sometimes another year to get 2 degrees rather than 1. So that's totally an option for you. And then why would you want to do this in Boston? Boston is one of the oldest cities in the US. It is firmly placed, I think, across education globally as a leader in education, as an education city. In the Boston area alone, we have over 35 different colleges and universities, many of which I know you've heard of. Right across the river is Harvard and MIT, right? Those are all names that everybody associates with education and with Boston. But there's many private liberal arts schools, business schools, and large public schools like UMass or Boston College, another private university. They're all here, And so when you're here, you are living in the same neighborhoods as the students that are going to all of these other universities. You're networking, you're sharing common interests. And it's one of the reasons why Boston is a leader in entrepreneurship, because many of these research projects turn into businesses for students like yourself. Because of the thousands and thousands of businesses that are literally walking distance from where you're going to be living, you have an unimaginable amount of job opportunity with internships and after you're done with your degree. Suffolk University, I would say, does not necessarily focus on a massive amount of research at the graduate level. Where Suffolk University really shines is giving you the curriculum and the practical experience and the internship opportunities and the embedded experiences within the classroom with local business to be able to give you a very real and necessary skill set to put on your resume, to walk into an interview confidently and to say, this is what I've done. This is what I know how to do. I can demonstrate that. I can show you the value that I'll bring to you, to your business. And this is why you should hire me. That's what Suffolk is very good at. So all of these reasons, I think, are reasons why you'd want to come to study in Boston. And then outside of that, non-education related, there are beautiful parks, rivers, beach access, just about 10 minutes away from the university. There's huge amounts of entertainment. If you're a sports lover, there's just about every kind of sport that you can imagine at the professional level. There's all kinds of incredible opportunities for you that are in Boston. And then last,
I'm sorry, and I wanted to add a little bit to your to practical experience in Suffolk.
Sure.
Actually, I had a student who studied master in communication in Suffolk, and when she applied for job in the US, she was competing with one of the students from Boston University. Actually, I was surprised, and she was surprised as well, because she got this position because she had some experience using tools and using some software, and the Boston University student didn't have it because they had more theoretical courses, and she had more practical experience, and she was prepared for job more than the student from the Boston universities. Nevertheless, Boston universities is more highly ranked. Sure. So it doesn't, ranking is not the thing always. So
that's a really good point. That couldn't be a better example, honestly, of why it's so important to look at the curriculum that you're going to be taking in your degrees and realize that for us, the purpose of you studying is to get you a job so that you're paid well and you're doing what you're passionate about. And so we embed a lot of that experience in the classroom, even as an undergraduate, to make sure that you walk out into your interviews ready to go. And Yulia, that's a perfect example of how you don't always have to go to what would be regarded or seen as the highest ranked school that may or may not be more expensive or less expensive. It's really, you need to see through to the end result. That's a perfect example of that. So thank you.
Actually, we have some questions.
Yeah, sure.
Why is it easy to get a job in STEM degree? Do Americans don't want to study STEM? Actually, yeah, I remember this conversation.
I think whoever asked that is good, probably at logic, and 100% that is the reason. If there were a lot of Americans going into math or science, you would have a much more difficult time getting those positions. The reality is twofold. One, those positions are needed. Whether you're an American or an international student, it doesn't matter. The world is moving in that direction, right? Information grows at a staggering rate every day, more than we can probably comprehend. And to be able to access that and to keep it safe and to know what to do with it is becoming more and more critically important every day. So American or not, those jobs are needed. what compounds that is what that whoever asked that is getting to, and that is there are not nearly enough American students that are studying STEM degree on any level, undergraduate or graduate. So there's a massive shortfall, and companies are hungry for those students.
Why don't they want to study STEM?
I
Are they
I think
lazy?
honestly, I think part of it is laziness. Part of it is the fact that in general, globally, still business is the most popular major, and business, even from a purely American sense, has long been very communicative, right? People often will mix business and psychology together, or business and a social science. That's not a bad thing, but you could argue somebody with a psychology background might know how people think or might know how they make decisions. That's true. You could say that, especially 10 years ago. But now a data analyst can come in and say, I don't need a psychology degree to tell me how people think. I can show you how people think in ones and zeros right here. Not only very accurately, but I can show you much quicker than that other person with the psychology background is going to take to analyze and guess, right? So I think that part of it, and I think in America, there's even been a push among youth and women, especially those two target areas, to ask for more STEM participation. So you're starting to see in toy stores more STEM focused toys. You're starting to see in the grade school more STEM focused clubs or things to get kids interested in math and science and show them the value of it earlier. Where I think many other countries have done that from the time kids are young. And that's why you see many programs, especially in engineering and computer science, many programs are taken up, the majority of those seats are taken up by international students.
Okay, great. And the next question is there any reason to take Bachelor of Science in STEM and continue with Master in STEM? Are there any extended work permit for 2 STEM majors? Someone wants to get 6 years of experience.
Super good question. You guys are starting to see the value of it so well, and I'm glad you're asking these questions, because I'm gonna stop sharing my screen because we're just talking, and I'll come back to that. So
we will probably need this scholarship slide later.
Yep, for sure. I'll bring it right back when we're done. So what I would say to that is that's super great that you bring that up, because let's say you went to a university and you chose an undergraduate major that was not STEM. Most likely you're going to apply for a job that you have a year of work opportunity for, and chances are, depending on if what major it is, you're going to have a tough time getting a job because of that year restriction. It's not impossible, but you're going to have a more difficult time getting it compared to someone with more opportunity. So what often happens to international students is they come back and they look for a master's degree that has STEM so that they can get that 3 years. They learn their lesson at the undergraduate, right? And now they want to try to recover at the graduate level. So they often bypass that year, but let's say at best they had that 1 year. They come back and they get 3 years at the master's degree level. The cool thing with STEM degrees is at the end of each degree, at the bachelor's degree and at the end of a master's degree, you get 3 years of work opportunity at the end of each. So if you do a bachelor's degree in STEM, 3 years of work opportunity. Do a master's degree in STEM, 3 years of work opportunity. So let's just say at the bachelor's degree level, you took big data and analytics in the business program. Mm-hmm. At the end of that 4 years, you'd have 3 years of OPT. Now let's say you still want to stay in the United States, you didn't get a final job offer yet, you're not done kind of developing yourself. You could choose to go into finance, you could choose to go into marketing, or you could choose to go into just to continue the MSBA. You could do each of those in about a year to a year and a half and come out with 3 more years of OPT. So now you're talking about 5 years of total education, 5.5, and 6 years of OPT, right? Versus 5.5 years of education and quite possibly 2 years of OPT where you may or may not have got employed. So it's definitely kind of you're hedging your bets and placing yourself in a much safer area for prospective job opportunities and a massive amount more of earned income to pay back the price that your education cost.
Well, we have another question from one of the attendees, and it's, do you offer a scholarship for international students for Master of Science degrees?
Yep.
Actually, you need to show us your
let's
last
go
slide.
right back to it. So yes, we do. And Suffolk University is actually very generous with their scholarship amounts, especially within the business school. We have a College of Arts and Science, we have a College of Law, and we have a College of Business. Each of them have their own scholarship funds, their own scholarship pots at different levels. And for sure, the College of Business has the most scholarship opportunity. So at the undergraduate level, you can get up to $22,000 per year for all 4 years. At the master's degree level, you can get up to $20,000 per year for the duration that you're there, whether 1 year or 2. So that is entirely based on your grade point average coming in. And so you would know what that scholarship amount is before you even accepted your offer. So if you work with Yulia, you apply to the university, you can do that super easy. You would get an admission decision back, and a couple days behind that admission decision is going to come your scholarship offer. And then you can decide, I got enough scholarship to attend or I didn't. But either way, it's not going to cost you anything to find out if that's the case. So in addition to that, we also at both the undergraduate level and the graduate level, we don't require GRE, GMAT, SAT, ACT. There's no standardized tests for you. It's all based on your GPA, your language proficiency, and making sure that you can afford it. You meet those 3 things, and the rest is just details, small details.
Well, and how to get this scholarship and what affects it? You mentioned that GPA affects the scholarship. Is it the only thing that you consider for scholarship?
Almost entirely. If you have taken a standardized test and you feel that you've done really well on it and you want to use that as kind of like supplemental information for the decision, you could do that. And so it wouldn't hurt. But if you didn't do well on it, but if your grades were good, it's also something that you don't need to turn in. Almost the whole decision for financial aid is based on the GPA.
Well, we have another question actually about GRE and GMAT, but you have already answered it. So the last question here now. Does one has to have bachelor degree in the sphere of technology, math, or similar to be able to apply for big data? I think they're speaking about mastering big data and business analytics.
The question is, do you have to have the background?
Yes. Do you have to have background in technology or math or similar or something engineering? Suppose one has bachelor degree in the sphere of law or psychology, is there a chance to be admitted to the program?
Yes, 100%. So lots and lots of people come into that business analytic background from varying other backgrounds. And the only course that you are going to have to show that you either have taken before or that you can pass when you come in is a statistics course. And so once you've passed that, basically, whether you've already done it in your degree or you do it in the first semester of the time that you're here, either way, you can show that you're able to pass that stats class. Everything else is just you're going to learn within the classroom.
Thank you very much for a great presentation and for sharing so interesting information with us.
It's a pleasure.
And hopefully we will make other presentations for our students later.
Sounds good. It was nice to be able to share information with everyone, and thanks for hosting us, Yulia.
Many thanks for you from other visitors. Yeah,
Great.
thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much. Have a great day, everybody. Great evening.
Good day
Bye-bye.
to you too. Bye. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this webinar was very useful for you. And if you have concerns about what major to take and if your education is suitable for that or this master degree, you can ask questions in my WhatsApp, and you can find my phone number in the comments under this video, and we can speak in more details about your situation. I will happy to guide you to studies in the US. And now please don't forget to press like button at the bottom of this video and sign up to my channel to receive new great videos soon.